All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to this live. I'm so excited to have Miss Margaret again with us. Actually, I should call her Minister Margaret. Thank you for joining us and taking your time out of a Saturday. This is not even your working hours.
No, it's not. Yeah.
I don't know how much you're charging me for this live, but we're doing the good for the country, for the our citizens. So let's get going into this. Margaret, thank you so much. How have you been?
Very well. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Brenda. Thank you also for reaching out
sure.
and letting me know that this was necessary. I am
Mhm.
honored to be here and happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad that you could jump on this call, and hopefully we'll address some of the questions that people have been, I've been seeing on social media, people asking A, B, C, and D. So hopefully we'll throw some good light into this. And if you are out there, you're watching this video, or you will be watching this video, please share it with a friend that you might think, especially people who live in the US and they're thinking of applying for the new passports, or they have any questions, this video I'm sure will be very helpful. So because it's a Saturday, guys, I want us to go straight into it, and so we can all move on with our Saturdays. It's always crazy. So Miss Margaret, so tell us a little bit of what has changed. I see the new passports. What's happening? What do we need to know right now on the new changes?
Thank you very much, Brenda. The question you just asked is very important. And the reason why is because let me start with what has not changed. What
Yes.
has not changed is the need to change or to hand in your old machine readable passport and receive your new e-passport. That has not changed. That has been a requirement since December 2018. If you recall, by January 2019, the embassy was no longer printing passports. For those who were in the United States before, you were able to send in your passport, have it renewed, it's printed at the embassy, and then mailed back to you. So we had an interim arrangement because what happened is the old machines at the embassy were decommissioned because they were not e-passport machines.
Yeah.
And the new machines were introduced at the East African community level, this being in the capitals of the East African community. New machines were introduced at different times, but all following the same timeline. In other words, the East African community had given the same timeline to everybody. Now, depending on individual countries' circumstances, how quickly they were able to make those replacements, they had their own internal roadmaps. Those who could not meet the deadlines, as the ESC had put there, where would then apply to get extensions. So in the case of Uganda, we have requested extensions 3 times because at each point in time, people would say, we are not ready, we are not ready, we are not ready. Now, of course, for people in the diaspora, the situation is different
Hmm.
because whereas in Kampala, you can take a taxi.
Right.
I'm putting aside my day, I'm going to Old Port Bell Road, I'm going to apply, I'm going to do things of that nature. In the
Right.
diaspora, you have a very, very big geographical location, and there is only one office serving everybody. Which office is the nearest embassy close to you, or the embassy to which you are accredited? We've got several embassies. We have about 34 embassies, but not all are passport issuing.
Okay. So
So
which ones? How many do issue passports, for example?
under the old system of
Hmm.
the machine readable passport, there were 3
Okay.
passport issuing centers. There was London, Pretoria, and Washington. Under the new, there are 7,
Okay.
but the 7 are being rolled out over a period of time. And so far, those that have been rolled out are London, which was rolled out in February,
Okay.
and then Washington, D.C., which was rolled out in March, in the last
Hmm.
week of March. Um, they'll be, I think, doing Abu Dhabi soon. Ottawa will be done. Copenhagen will be done. Beijing will be done. And I think probably Qatar. I'm not. I'll have to go over that list
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But there will be 7 in total.
Okay.
But here on the North American continent, we shall have 2 centers. One will be in Ottawa and the one which has just been reopened in Washington, DC. So going back to what has changed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for Ugandans who were in the area of accreditation of the United States, and this included the Caribbean, it included South America, those and Central America. The Ugandans in these locations were being asked to mail in their applications to us. So under the old system, you would go on the passport website, that is www.passports.go.ug. You'd fill out, it's a central application site. In other words, everybody, those in Uganda and those outside Uganda, all use that same site.
Okay.
So you go in, apply. When you are done with your application and you've done your payment, you would print off everything, attach your copies of your payment receipts,
Okay.
attach photographs, and then you would fill out what we called the embassy interview record form. And most of this we had to do because of the reality of COVID. We couldn't really receive people coming in for interviews and going.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a system where when we received your paperwork, we would call you and do your interview over the phone. Then we would retain your old passport at the embassy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would send your paperwork to Kampala, where it would undergo all the other bureaucratic processes and printing.
Mm-hmm.
Those passports would then be sent back to us. We would match your old passport to your new one, put in the envelope you supplied, and mail back to you. So under the old system, you never came to the embassy.
Okay.
Under
Yes,
the
I
new
remember
system,
that. Yeah.
now, under the new system, the bureaucratic processes and the clerical work, all the clearances that were happening in Kampala have been brought to Washington, DC. So what happens now is that you now have to come. Why? Because even prior we were not capturing biometrics because you could not come physically. But now
Right.
to come to the embassy, now you don't bring your photograph. We take your photograph and your biometrics at the embassy. And all those processes, the background checks, everything happens at the embassy. And then when we submit your paperwork, we submit it online, but it goes straight to the printer. And the printer is in Kampala. It's still in Kampala. But you don't have the 3 weeks processes of it's moving from this desk to this one. No. The desk is now just one, the one that is in Washington. Now, once that printing is done, it's assumed that once you've gone through this process, you're good for printing. So what happens then is that everything we submit goes in there, the printing is done, and then the courier brings what is ready. So on a weekly, whatever is ready is brought in. But what you have to calculate is that depending on how many are in line, because remember, this is not the only diaspora. I know in the United States, we tend to think when we are saying diaspora, we are thinking only for ourselves. But the diaspora is very big. I would tell you that the biggest diaspora is in Kenya. It is not in the United States. So all of these people around the world, when you think of how many people in the United Arab Emirates, in Qatar, in the Middle East, how many Ugandans are renewing? All
So
of them
many.
are renewing through this process, and all of them are lining up for printing. So it's not as if the day that we submit your passport
Your
will be
paperwork and stuff. Yeah.
yes. What we can guarantee you is that if, for instance, you have paid for expedited, then within 5 days it will be printed. It will be printed within 5 days. That does not account for shipping, because whereas it is ready, we cannot guarantee you how fast whichever airplane, whichever courier is going to get here or there, because it's not like Amazon. We are not making promises. We're not making commercial promises here. So that is why we ask that people give us 14 working days. 14 working days. The other issue is that this is not a regular time. Why? Because there is a deadline at play. Prior to this, people were looking for and saying, oh, April 4th, 2022, that is a long time away.
Excuse
Now,
me, sorry.
sorry, hay fever. So, April 4th, then all of a sudden, when it came to 6 months before April 4th, people realized they could not get visas in a passport that is going to expire within 6 months. Many people realized that the expiry date that is reading inside their passport at the time no longer applies. There was now a standard expiry date of April 4th, 2022. And so when we hit January, February, all of a sudden, everybody was trying to beat the deadline.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody, those in Uganda and those outside Uganda, which of course will create a backlog. I remember seeing an announcement here. Brenda, how long did you wait for your passport, your US passport?
It was a long time actually because because of the whole COVID thing, and even up to now.
Yeah.
Because I know we're trying to apply for the little boys' passports,
They'll
and
give you a 6-week wait time.
yes, and even getting appointments,
Yes.
even to just submit the paperwork.
Yes.
Not everybody, accepts those things, or is receiving the paperwork, and you have to make an appointment. As of right now, I think the next available appointment for the boys would be like end of May. And this is the US.
And
So once you submit those, it's also going to be another wait
Yes.
for the passports.
Yes.
So the whole process is slower, not just for the Ugandan thing. Yeah.
That is correct. The whole process is slower because that is the reality, really, of systems that have to do with national security.
Yeah.
You cannot rush such a system. The moment you say, I'm in a hurry, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And that is really a message I would like to pass on to my fellow Ugandans. The moment you do things in a rush, it is going to cost you in more ways than one. Why? Because somehow in our psyche, I don't know what kind of training we have, but in our psyche, we believe that you can pay your way through any Ugandan system. The thing is that if you place yourself in that mental space of I will pay, everybody will take advantage of you.
That's true.
Yeah, there will always be that person who makes the promise that if you pay this amount of money, they'll get you through faster. So usually procrastination is a very dangerous game to play, especially with government systems. So the reality of it is there is a backlog. It is there. But what you can do right now, if you are not the person that must travel next week, do your application now.
Yeah.
Do your application now so that you are not under the pressure that leads you into all kinds of temptations that will make you lose your money.
I've seen. Okay, so Margaret, just to go back on that. So on average, let's say somebody's not doing the rush process. On average, I've seen people saying, they applied like in last year, end of last year sometime, or early this year, and they still haven't received their passports or whatever. So what could be happening in between there? Anything that they're not aware of or they need to be aware of?
Yes. So first of all, end of last year was late. End of last year was less than 6 months to the deadline. End of last year was 4 months to go. And for many people, because we have many, many Ugandans that travel in the December, January period, very many people decided to wait it out until that point of time. So that increased the backlog. So really what this is twofold. One is the reality that it was late already and everybody was trying to do it at the end. But the second one is that because we had a transition of systems, by the time we transitioned to the new system where we were requesting people to come and do their applications, do the manual, the in-person, there were many people who had done their paperwork and then held on to it and waited to mail it out. Then they mail it out in that last week, or when they saw the announcement that with effect from 1st April, then they put their stuff in the mail. So you have very many people between the months of February actually took from the end of January to March 20th, around there, you have hundreds and hundreds of applications that came. Now, because we knew that there was going to be a transition,
Yeah.
it was faster. It was going to be faster for us to wait for the actual immigration team to be here and offer us whatever forms of expediting they could do. Because you did not want a transition to happen when your paperwork is somewhere between here and Kampala.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what they were able to do for us was to take all paper submitted applications up to April 1st, take those to Kampala, and then put them into the queue. So
Wow.
that is what is happening now. And
Yeah.
actually, we are starting to see quite a number of passports coming in, which were in
Okay.
that batch. That was one of our biggest batches.
Yeah.
And hundreds, when I say there are hundreds of passports, there are hundreds of them.
Wow.
So we are now starting to receive them. We
Okay.
actually did quite a bit of clearance last week and mailing out.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's
people are
good.
going to start to see the ones who were there before April 1st are going to start to receive their passports anytime from next week.
Okay. So
Unless there
are
is
the
a query.
passports not to
Unless
cut
there is a query, and that is the other thing.
yeah.
The paper, the ones that were done with paper and mail in, I can tell you that 80 out of 100 applications have gaps. The person sees the question, says, I don't know the answer, and skips it, prints, and mails.
So what happens to that?
Then you get a query, because then you get a query because you have an incomplete application. So because the person processing doesn't know your father's date of birth, does not know his village, his county, any of those things, and yet those are primary requirements for us to be able to
Yes.
process
Oh
your
my
father.
God. Yeah. I
So
can
when
see
you
that
give an
happening.
incomplete application, like any typical government system which is under pressure to put out results, you who is blocking the queue, they just get it and
Put
put
you
it
on the
aside.
side. Now what happens? Is the applicant notified by
Yes,
okay.
the applicant is notified, but
Okay.
you would still be surprised that even when notified, an applicant can sometimes take 2-3 weeks to respond to what has been asked of them. Some applicants get upset. They get very upset and say, after 3 weeks of waiting, after a month of waiting, now is when you tell me, but they'll
Right.
still not
Right.
respond. We get very, very many kinds of reactions from that. But in the end, what tends to happen is from the majority of people who tell you, I sent mine in December, they're not going to tell you that in between there, they had 2-3 queries and they were having a back and forth. They only count from the time they mailed it. They don't count from the time that the system queried them. And they'll never tell you that that also contributed to the delay.
So how is the how does the embassy or the immigration system reach out to the applicant? Just so we're clear.
Using the data that is on the application.
Okay, so like emailing address.
Yes. So
Okay.
if you phone especially,
Oh, okay.
because the emails, we literally, it is such a heavy backlog to sit down and respond to email or to send out that number of emails is almost impossible.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
use the phone system, we leave voicemails. But what tends to happen is when somebody receives their voicemail, rather than respond by sending the information by email,
They
they'll
try to
want to
call.
call back and try to speak to somebody and ask several questions. And the phone system can only carry so many calls. For the reality of the embassies, it is a small office.
Yeah, I
It's really
saw.
what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
hear
sure
you.
if you visited us to see what happens. There are times when the calls come in and the calls actually spill over from the switchboard to our individual extensions, and we are answering those calls. And then it's heavy. It is very, very heavy traffic if you're dealing with a system where people are reluctant to read.
Yeah. Okay.
There is that as well.
I have a few questions. So people are here. Let's see if we could answer them quickly.
Sure.
That's a
Let's
good
do
question. Yeah. All right. So we have Jake here was asking, is there anyone that receives calls at the embassy? Calls go to voicemail. I think that's what he meant to say.
Yes. Yes. We have but our phone calls are only during the office working hours. Usually, when we get in and start the system at 9, we find already 26 voicemails, 40 voicemails of people called in the middle of the night, people who called the moment they had their emergency.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 6 in the morning. We have the reality of the time zones. We have people for whom it was still working hours in their time zone, and we had already closed in hours. So by the time we go through those and call back, the calls are still coming in. It's
Yeah.
simply the reality of heavy traffic, heavy
Okay.
caller traffic.
Do you think there could be a better way?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is what we have requested of the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control. We have asked if a separate phone system, a caller system for passport and visa issues can be set up.
That's a good way. Yes.
And we have been promised by the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control that they're going to have a toll-free caller system, which will work 24 hours.
That's good.
24 hours meaning it's not situated at the embassy.
Okay.
It's situated at the headquarters of the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control. So it's able to work all the time, not only during Ugandan hours, but also during these hours, which frees us as an embassy to do the other work which embassies do.
That's true. That's very true because I think if there's a way they could separate, because when I don't know, like I don't think Americans apply for their passports from the embassy. No, like no. So I think they need to separate, like the immigration or your office needs to separate like passports handling, ID handling from the embassy of Uganda to the United States roles. It could be a branch within the embassy, but it should not solely fall under the embassy right now. I think that's
Actually,
what's
it
happening.
is. It's actually a branch within the embassy. And what we have requested, which they have promised to do, is to set up its own phone system.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because then we're able to absorb the number of calls that are coming in. But the other thing also maybe that I could say is that I'll tell you, because I sometimes do some of the relief work. There's some of those calls spill over to me.
Yeah.
The surprise is the questions that this caller will have spent 4 days trying to get to us to ask. Usually this is information that is actually available on other platforms of the embassy. I'll give you an example. Somebody will spend 4 days calling, 4 days leaving voicemails and all of that, and eventually they get through, because this is sort of like calling a radio station. Have you ever tried to call a radio station?
Yeah, like seriously, when do you ever get through?
But the calls are coming through, so there are people that do. Now what happens then is the person that does get through is then not fair to all the other callers that are waiting, and says, I spent long to get in on this call. I have to ask every question I have ever thought about. Ask the first question, the second question, the third question, the fourth question. Then they pull up their form online and say, no. Since I can't get you again on the phone, let's do this form together. Let's do this payment together. Meanwhile, the calls are coming in. And the callers are going on voicemail, and the callers are going on voicemail. But the questions this person is asking are actually have answers in the FAQs on the website. And I just want to request my fellow Ugandans, when the switchboard assistant refers you to the website, they're not trying to insult you. They're not trying to offend you.
They're not brushing you off.
Brushing you off. What they're trying to do is to take as many calls from as many needy callers as they can while providing the information. So it's not the embassy trying to brush you off by providing the information on alternative platforms. What the embassy is trying to do is to decongest the phones. And if you're able to read please read, and read slowly, because there is that too.
Yeah, like if we
Sometimes,
rush through it. Yeah.
yes, sometimes you say, okay, go on the website, go to this website. And the caller does. They go straight to the website, they type it, and they still have you on the phone. Then you say to them, listen, you need to read everything, because everything on that page means something. And the information is telling you, do not do this, do not do this, do not do this, do not do this. Meaning there are common mistakes that happen when people are doing these applications. But when this person opens the page, they are just looking for the link. The one, where do I click? Where do I click to start? Where do I click to start? So then they click to start. And now when they click to start, having not read all the information before, they start to make errors in the application. And then at the end, the errors catch up with them. And then they find, how come I cannot make an appointment? Where am I supposed to make the appointment? Or then they don't realize, because they never read, they don't realize it's no longer the old system. And then they print their things, put them in an envelope, send them.
And then it has gaps, of course. Yeah.
It has gaps, but it arrives after the deadline when we said you can no longer mail. So when you call back, then the caller says, but nobody told me. And that's a very common.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So fellow citizens, yes, take your time. This is what I'm hearing from Margaret. Take your time as you fill out that form. If you can, see if you can get, you know what, something else that I think, Margaret, I'm just like thinking out loud here. Yeah. We could have, maybe you could suggest it to the, that side of handling the immigration stuff. A section, like online, if you stack somebody who's like available to chat with you on the computer.
So right off the bat, I'll tell you, there is nobody available to chat with.
There's nobody available.
No, there is nobody available to chat. We are not talking about some multi-million-dollar corporation like Verizon or a doctor's office that has 16
Can we, the diaspora people, actually put that as part of the things we can fund?
No. You are not allowed by law to subsidize the government to whom you pay taxes. No. I'm sorry, but no, you cannot fund that.
No. I mean, like, we're trying to see if a system that could work for us. So if we can make it a donation.
Mm-hmm. The systems will be built.
Yeah.
But the first response we are getting to the system is at least the creation of the toll-free.
Mm-hmm,
right. Mm-hmm, By the way, this situation is not going to be permanent. This was not the case 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This was not the case with the phone system. This has happened because we've been in a fundamental transition when it came to immigration documents, and it is actually going to subsidize. Of course, this doesn't solve the problem of the person with the
right.
But what I'm trying to say is that it's possible to partner in solving a problem. It's also possible to identify who you are in this chain of problems.
Right.
Are you contributing to it, or are you contributing to solving it? There is that, because if I pick up the phone and all of a sudden you want to spend the first 5-10 minutes
complaining
and insulting the person that picked up the phone, reading to them how many times you called and what, we shall be very patient and listen to you. But the people who are after you are going to lose their turn on the call.
Okay. I think that's fair enough. Yes. Jackie has a question here. Could we get a link to the renewal form or application form for the new passports?
Yes, please. And I'm going to put the link here because the link really, it is in the website of the embassy.
Okay, it is on the website. If any of you guys who will watch later, if you can't see the link, but it is on the website.
I'm going to put it in the chat.
Okay.
I'm going to go there. Mm-hmm. It is under the consular services section of the website, and there's a lot more information there.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that, but I will.
Okay, that's helpful. Yes,
I'm going to make sure that I put it there. I know for Jackie, she's going to read, but for many others.
There will also
others, even if I put it in capital letters. Oh, I have. Somehow it has gone. I okay. I
Did
hope
it?
it has gone to everyone in the
Let's see.
studio.
It might be coming in. I haven't seen it yet.
I think it is showing private chat.
Oh, did it go to the private chat?
I think so.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see. Comments. Yeah, I see it there. So let me
is
just.
it possible to send it over?
Yes. Yeah.
The other thing that some people do is they actually send us Facebook inbox messages. We're able to gather those from the comms people and send them into the consular team. But there are some things that will take you longer to get responses. If you send a Facebook inbox on Friday evening asking for the status of your passport, and your name is Pretty Chicks Mama, and that's your Facebook username, and so you go in as Pretty Chicks Mama into the Facebook inbox and say, I sent in my passport application, I want an update. And that's all the information that there is. Well, for one, there'll be no response until Monday. And then on Monday, the comms people will try to figure out who you are, who Pretty Chicks Mama is. So when you're sending in a query, please put as much usable information as you can. First of all, the names as they appear, all the names as they appear in your passport, because sometimes if you leave out a name, then we can't locate you in the system. If you change the order of the names as you put them in the passport application, sometimes we won't be able to locate you quickly. But the application number really, really helps. And even the date when we received your application, that
Yeah.
really helps us because we tend to batch these items, so say from date X to Y, so that we're able to locate paperwork faster.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but we get a lot of queries. We get a lot of queries in our Twitter inbox. We get a lot of queries in our Facebook inbox. The difference is that when people receive these answers, they don't tell anybody else.
They don't make it their status. Yeah.
Yeah, no, people don't know that actually you can pass a message on. It will be received. It may not be received immediately, but at least it will be received by a comms person who is not also taking phone calls at the same time. So, yes, I'm being as honest as I possibly can be. I'm not trying to whitewash anything here. I'm simply trying to draw a picture for you for what it is like. Many of us have gone to the emergency room. I mean, an emergency room in the hospital is a matter of life and death, but very many people still spend 5 hours in an emergency room,
I
6 hours
agree.
in an emergency room. And the
I
reality
agree.
of it is there will only ever be so many people to operate on an emergency at any one time, whether it is in the private sector or whether it is in the public sector.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
really, 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 really want to be helpful. We really do.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question for you here. Somebody was asking, when is the embassy open specifically for like passports? Do they have different days that they're open for specifically passports or IDs?
Yes. And that also takes me back to the information available on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ever since COVID, before COVID, it was like going to the train station. You just showed up, walked in, asked for what you wanted, and you left.
Yeah.
After COVID, the reality of it, because we had our fair share of it, the
Yeah.
reality of it is we can simply no longer operate that way. So we do have, and I've had in place a system of appointments since last year. So for national IDs, the appointment system on the website of the embassy, on the homepage of the embassy, there are two kinds of systems for making appointments.
Okay.
There's the consular appointments, the ones for national IDs. Those are nearer appointments.
Okay.
Those ones are twice a week. But now we've decided to just open them up for every
Okay.
day.
Every day?
Yes, because we realize that a lot of people who come in for passports can as well take the time to do their national ID.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good. Move, yes.
But the other thing most people don't know is that the NERA and the DCIC are two different government departments. So the calendar that we use for appointments creation for passports is a different calendar. It is a centralized calendar controlled in Kampala by the passport office.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to book your passport appointment separate from your national ID appointment. The national ID appointments calendar is created by the embassy itself. So sometimes you may not be able to book both at the same time. But what we can do is we can do our best to accommodate you. If you come in on a specific day for your passport interview,
Renewal or interview, yeah.
and you have your paperwork for national ID available. For instance, you have your birth certificate, you have a copy of one parent's ID, you already have your old passport. During that wait time, if the national ID system is open, you can actually go over there and get it done.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But in terms of appointments, yes, it is strictly by appointment.
Okay.
Because even if you show up within the system, this is not a system where you just come in and slot people in.
Mm-hmm.
No, it has to be recognized that this was an actual Ugandan applicant. He submitted his application on day X. He submitted his request for the appointment on day Y. It has to be shown in the system. And this was the date they were given. The other tip I can give people that are trying to request for appointments, for passports, please don't test the system. Don't go in and just click to see if it works. It works. Please only click on the actual date that you want, because the first date that you click, it will give you. You can't reverse it. So if you want to do the date and you say, let me go to December and I check.
It's going
That
to
is it.
It's going to grab for you December.
Grab you December, and that is the date. You cannot change it. You cannot override it. You cannot do anything with it. That's the date. You can only adjust that date when the date you've been given has passed.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So please don't test the system. Don't joke with the system. Know what date you want in your mind. Don't try to play checkers with it on there, because what ends up happening there is you end up getting a date where you're not sure you can get time off work.
That's right.
And no matter how much you call us, we cannot. These are not systems that we go into the back end and we change. No.
Okay. I think you really answered most of the questions, Margaret. And I am hoping if you're out there and you're watching this and you have more questions, you could maybe first check the website and see if those questions could be answered on the website before you just grab the phone and call. Like she mentioned, it's a huge line of people who are calling for different things, and sometimes one will pick up. The person will pick up and that person is trying to spend like an hour because they're just like trying to do all these things. And in the meantime, that's why your phone calls are all going into voicemail. I have somebody here, Helen Ragosi.
Yeah, she says.
Lugosi, yeah. Margaret, I had a 3 to 4 p.m. appointment for a passport. When I got to the embassy at 3, they said I was lucky because they were about to leave.
I'm not sure who said that to her, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who said that to her.
Yeah.
I don't know which day that was. On average, we all leave at 5.
Yeah.
So,
if that was like the American, somehow you guys could also help the system. Like she was just saying, if you could capture maybe who told you that, it could be passed on to like the C-level group of the embassy, and they could have it addressed with that person or Ferdinand.
Yeah, Ferdinand said he was about to leave at 3. At 3. I'll pass that on to Ferdinand.
Please don't fire somebody.
No. She's saying what she experienced.
Oh yeah. So what do you say? What would you say to Helen? Or to any other people who maybe might be thinking, their appointment is at this time. What is their expectation?
The expectation is that they are to be served, because I would like to know if Ferdinand denied her service. Helen, did Ferdinand deny you service at 3?
Yeah, I hope she was served. I mean, it sounds like she was served. He said the 3 to 4 p.m. appointment needs to be changed to 2 to 3. It was a Wednesday.
Yeah, but he wasn't saying that to Helen to change. That was the request that the embassy made to DCIC, because when we have appointments that go up to 4 o'clock, it means somebody can walk in at 3:59, or 16 people can walk in at 3:59, and that means that service will go on until 7 p.m. So the closing of the request that the last appointment window be up to 3 p.m. was in order for us to accommodate the people that come in at 2:59. So that was the request we made when the system was being created. But the system was then opened up to 4 o'clock for us, which is very different from Kampala. In Kampala, they have 60 something people working. Here you
Yeah.
have just one person. So, yeah, and I hope Helen did not think Ferdinand was trying to insult her in any way by that. He was probably surprised that the window was opened up to 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, Helen, I hope you got your passport or whatever you had gone for that time, and you could share the good news of your experience after that. No, he didn't. He served me and gave him a 20 out of 10 rating. He was very understanding. That's awesome.
Thank you,
Um,
Helen. Yeah, I didn't think he was trying to be insulting at all. Yeah.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. This
Now
is
he even helped her get her ID.
I know, isn't that amazing? We never hear such stuff, right?
Yes.
That's good. That's
So yeah,
good, Helen. Thank
we
you for
really,
telling us.
really like our clients.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
guess what? We even like clients who follow instructions more. We do, because it makes it fair on everybody else. The
I
national
agree.
ID system, Brenda,
Mm-hmm,
has extremely detailed questions.
mm-hmm.
Extremely detailed questions. So if you select your appointment for a particular time, and then they're asking you questions about you, about your mother, your father, your where you come from in Uganda, because the national ID question it's really, really, it leans on the fact that you're a citizen of Uganda. So
Yeah,
there's certain answers you have to have on your fingertips. But when the system has to wait for you to call your mom and wake her up at 11 p.m. in Kampala, then she has to call your auntie and your uncle. And meanwhile, you have this line of people behind you.
yeah,
That's actually the reason why usually we don't take more than 6 people for a national ID. Because on average, each individual comes in not knowing the answers to the questions, and then we will spend at least an hour on each applicant trying to get it done. But when the paperwork is done right,
mm-hmm.
30 minutes tops, the
You're
person
out.
is out of there. Yes.
Okay, okay. I mean, that's great. What would you say to any other people out there who are thinking of doing this process, who are complaining things are not going to their speed? What is your final remarks for them, Margaret?
We really regret the inconvenience of the speed. Um, the inconvenience of the speed. I would like to encourage people to be able to face personal responsibility in certain things. This system has been in place. At least the requirement to change the passport has been in place since 2018. And it has been postponed twice. The deadline has been postponed twice. And the reality of the matter is that procrastination will inconvenience you. If you do not know, or you do not respond when you do know, at a time when you're not in a rush, it's really going to inconvenience you. Please don't wait until you have an emergency. Do not procrastinate until you have an emergency. I know that it's known that in Uganda you can bend a system. There are some systems we will not be able to bend for you. And we hope you do not lean on that eventuality in order to do that. Maybe the other thing, Brenda, is the payment system. We haven't talked about that. We get many callers that say, one, I don't have, it's asking me to pay in a Ugandan bank, but I don't have a Ugandan bank account.
Yes, yes.
So this system, what happens when you go into the payment system is it will redirect you. It has what they call PRNs. That is personal registration number. So PRN is a kind of serial number. It's like the number of your bank slip. It's like a fingerprint. It is generated by the Uganda Revenue Authority for money due to government. So for every single payment that you make into government, it must have a corresponding PRN. So when you type in this application, it assesses for you based on what you requested. I'm an applicant. I press renew. I press the blue ordinary passport. I click on expedite. And then of course the courier fees is automatic, so it comes up by itself. So it's going to give you three assessments of three fees. It's going to give you the assessment of the fees for your passport. It will give you the assessment of the fees for the expedited fee if you selected it. If you lost your passport, it will assess for you an extra 100,000 for having lost the passport or damaged it. And then it will assess for you the 10,000 shillings. Sometimes it assesses to it, depends on what you selected. But to the left, when you're looking at your document, to the left of that document, there is the series of numbers. They usually start with two something. That is PRN. That is the number that we use to track a specific payment. So if you read the do's and don'ts on the embassy website, before you begin, you will see that we've told you do not pay all your money in one payment. Separate each payment for what it is used for, pay it against its PRN. At the end of your application, when it pulls up the payment links, it will separate each payment by PRN. And then it says, for this one, click here. For this one, click here. Please pay it the way it is put out to you. And then produce the equivalent number of copies of receipts of what you have paid. Now, regarding the banks that you see in the system, those are the recipient banks. Those are the Ugandan banks which you're paying into. Those are not the banks whose cards are accepted. It will accept any card that has Visa and MasterCard on it.
Okay.
So your Visa or your MasterCard, you can use those. You can even send money to somebody in Kampala to pay using MTN. Airtel doesn't have, but MTN mobile money, because you can make URA payments using that. At each instance, it will ask you to quote PRN. Those are the numbers that you see on the side, the PRN numbers. If you have your active app, MTN app, on say a Ugandan line here, you can even make those payments directly to MTN mobile money. You can send money, say by SendWave, to a family member who can make the payment for you over the counter in Kampala or through agent banking. What they have to have is the correct names and the PRNs. If you are a family, say of 3 people, please don't combine the full amount of money and pay it once. Every receipt, every PRN must correspond with the names of the person for whom the service is being made. The other thing is that it's important that you let your bank know that you're going to make an international transaction. And this is the reason why. When you make this payment, you're making it in dollars, then there is a middleman vendor between the URA account and your American account. There is a middleman vendor called Pegasus. Pegasus is the company that takes dollars from your account and remits shillings to the Uganda Revenue Authority account. The thing is that the gateway that Pegasus uses is located in Nigeria. And for many of your banks, when they notice a strange vendor trying to take money out of your account and where the vendor is located, they'll sometimes flag it for fraud.
Yes.
Sometimes it will be
especially going to Nigeria.
Yes. They'll flag it for fraud then because you never notified your bank before you did it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it won't show up with your bank right away. So you call the bank and the bank says it's not, the problem is not on our end, but when it is. So sometimes those payments may not go through. Really, the reality of it is your bank is trying to protect you, but you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
this money. So those are some of the issues. DCIC is looking into that to see if they can make the payment as seamless as the visa payment.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
So most of that they discovered when they actually came here physically to do the rollout, and then we were able to share with them. The other complaint, of course, is about the air tickets. The
Yes, to the embassy. Yes.
for West Coast people are saying, "Come on, how?" But the thing is that the reason why we were so anxious last year to get as many applications in was we knew that this was an interim system which was eventually going to come to an end.
Yeah.
Anybody who is now flying in is somebody who did not take this deadline seriously. That is the most I can say.
Wow. So okay, so flying in, okay, what people who are trying to fly in, I know I read somebody said they flew in and then somehow they were not even seen. So what happened? What did that person do wrong? She did not come on her real appointment, or what? She just jumped on a plane and came to Washington DC and said, I'm going to start processing my stuff.
I
What should
don't
they
know.
know before they jump on that plane?
Well, in this particular case, I do not know. I
Yeah,
don't know because I don't know who it is, but I'll
right.
tell you that now we still have people walking in with their just swinging hands, and they walk in and say, I've come to change my passport. And so you say, where is your appointment confirmation? Because it's a barcode confirmation. For those of you who have gone to the American Embassy to do a visa interview, you know that barcode that they give you, which gives you the
Yes.
date and the time and everything? We
Yes.
have a similar system for passports. You try showing up at the American Embassy.
Like how?
Hands. How?
How?
But we have very, very many people. Oh, we have people that come in and then they say, I have everything on my phone, but my battery is out. And then you say, so how can I help you? And they say, well, can't you check in your things there? You check in your things. And then the person will tell you, I drove 10 hours from Boston to come here. And some of these things I'm telling you, they beg a belief. But you have a system where people walk in with just the old passport, probably because they didn't have enough information. And so they come in and they think that they're going to slide it through the slot, and Karen is going to slide out a new passport. And so when you say, oh, did you? And then when they see the form for the first time and look at how much information they're supposed to submit and confirm before they book an actual appointment, they're very, very surprised. But remember, they have paid for an air ticket. So on that basis alone, they expect somehow for the embassy
To have sympathy.
yes, but the thing is, sympathy doesn't cut it because we are dealing with a system. The system has no feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you go to the trouble to buy an air ticket, you really, really, really need to be sure
Yes.
that
Yes.
you have done your part. The same way you don't show up at a hotel and demand for a room that you never booked. So
That's true.
yeah.
That's
Mm.
true. Guys, I mean, Margaret, thank you so much. There's things that I actually did not know myself. With the whole payment structure, the numbers, the codes you're talking about, I think most people have made so many mistakes that way, and I hope they actually get to listen to this video and do everything before they actually start the process, or first read and understand the whole process before they even jump in and start doing. And then the whole thing of picking a date, random picking of a date, you're testing the system, that I did not know either. And I can see so many of us just saying, let me check if April 20th is open. Let me check if December 21st is open. And once you click it, you're stuck there. That you cannot go back or reverse the system. It's not like you're clicking on a normal computer calendar and it's going to take you back to like booking a hotel. So I think those are very important things, and I am very appreciative of your time and your work you're doing for us. And I pray like so many people actually find the system to be very, like straightforward if they follow the right procedures. Let me see. Helen was saying something here. She said, "By the Farouk was the nicest, most patient human being I've ever met. God bless him. He even stayed past hours." That's great. That's really great. So, I mean, you just talked about Farouk. You talked about another guy, and those are two people that I think that's it probably is just like the small portion of what is actually at the embassy. But people are very human and they're very recipient of us when we walk in and we need some help. Another thing that needs to be edited on the website is the passport size photos. The website lists them as a requirement, but they are not. What do you say about that, Margaret?
That is interesting. I should go there and check. I'm going in there right now to check.
Okay. Mhm.
And I'm
Thank you
really,
so
really
much, Helen.
grateful that she has called
Yeah. Thank you
this
so much, Helen, for pointing that out.
copy of national printout of payment receipts, prepaid, copy of national ID. Oh, I'm looking for that. I don't see photos here. Let's see.
She says the passport size photos.
I'm looking at the information here, and I don't see passport size photos here.
Is that for the passport or for just the ID? I don't know.
No, for ID you don't, because we take the picture. In both cases, now we're taking the picture.
Okay.
Before that, we were not. I'm looking at the current requirements for passport renewal, and I don't see passport size pictures here. Could it be maybe the attachment? I shall look at the attachment and see.
Okay.
Maybe the other thing is that on the website we even have FAQs.
Okay.
We have FAQs. If it's a burning question, please first go through the FAQs before you.
She said they're on another page.
No, I think it is passport renewal checklist. I think she means.
Okay.
Yes, she's right. So that needs to be edited. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, Helen. Please read. Please read. Please follow instructions, and please know that we are on your side. We are not against you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Helen, for pointing that out. And yes.
Just a moment, Brenda.
Yeah.
Friends, please do not call the embassy to check if you really must come in person. You really must come in person. Please don't call in order to ask. It is there, it is stated on the website, come in person, but it's not something you should spend 3 days trying to call in order to ask. Yes, you must show up.
You must show up, and on appointment. On an appointment, yes. All right. So when they fly in, this is another thing I saw. I mean, you probably already answered it, but so you fly in to have your biometrics, and so the passport process start moving. Do you also have to fly in to receive, or is it mailed to you? Like once your passport
the choice is yours.
Okay.
You can say, I'll come and pick up my passport myself. Or you can say, there's a form that you can sign to release that passport into our custody when it comes, and then you provide us with a self-addressed, returned, prepaid envelope.
Okay.
We shall use what you pay for. If you pay for a 30-cent thing, that's where we'll put it. If you pay for courier fees, we shall use the system that you have selected for us to return your passport to you.
Okay. All right. I think, guys, this has been very helpful to me personally, and I believe to so many of you who will be watching this. I hope so anyways. And I hope this saves you some time to call and the frustration to be on the phone because nobody's picking up. So you'll take some time to read what is on the website. This website is very up to date. Maybe if it's like to the extreme that you're not understanding something, then you can definitely reach out to the embassy. They're not saying do not call if you have questions, but they're just saying you might call and nobody reaches out to you immediately. So as we give them time to also go through all the big line of voice messages, let's also be patient and let's not wait to when it's an emergency to start the process. That's as if you're going to be traveling maybe in August, in December, you need your passport, do it now. Don't wait 5 months. And this is not only for the Ugandan passports, guys. This is even when you're applying for your American passport, for example. I will tell you, yes, that's how the process is right now. You apply for your passport now, it's going to take you another maybe 5 months to get that passport. Or even, I think maybe now it's a shorter process for the American passports. But even for your ID, even for, like I just applied for my TSA. And the appointment that I could get was 3 weeks out. So if I was planning to travel and use the TSA thing, I wasn't going to get it immediately. And you're like, this is just the number that they're going to give me. But it was 3 weeks out. And then once you go in, you get an appointment, the process becomes smooth. So I think it's just following what we need to be following. That might be helpful. Let's see here. Margaret, thanks for everything. I sent you a gazillion WhatsApp message questions before going in. I'm sorry, there were way too many questions. Again, yes, I had another friend. Oh, this is Helen. Oh, Helen was just saying earlier how yesterday she sent me a message saying, I think this is the same Helen, my friend. She said, Brenda, I've sent Margaret so many. I'm like, you can imagine, Margaret has so many messages in her WhatsApp.
Okay, I need a new phone. It crashes all that.
In her Facebook. So, but I'm so glad you could actually get your questions answered today. And Margaret, thank you. I think we should do this like more every after 2 months, maybe.
We should, because we didn't tackle the question of what the requirements are.
Yes. Do you still have a few minutes?
I do.
Okay.
Because this one, we get a lot of people that do this.
Yes.
We have many people that have been waiting to be able to renew. In between, they got their American citizenship. Now they want to renew the other one, but they have not done their dual citizenship process.
Yes.
So they pull out a passport which expired after 10 years, and then they come, and then during the interview, they're asked, are you a dual citizen? And they bold-faced lie to the immigration officer.
Yes.
and this person even forgets that they asked them, when was the last time you were in Kampala? I'd say 2 years ago. Are you a dual citizen? No. But this is a passport that expired maybe 10 years ago. And so they're not even thinking that, please don't game the system. Don't try to game the system. This system is very funny. The rope looks very, very long, but it is intricate. If you lie now about your citizenship or dual citizenship, it's going to catch up with you down the road.
Yeah.
So one thing you need to know is that to legally hold a Ugandan passport, you have to be a Ugandan citizen. Under the law of Uganda, you are allowed to have 2 citizenships. But the law of Uganda says beyond the 2 citizenships, you must have a bridge document called a certificate of dual citizenship, which means you must notify and apply to get your citizenship back. Because when you swear your oath of allegiance to the United States of America, you actually renounce your old citizenship.
That's true.
So there is a process for you to get it back. And if you are Ugandan by descent meaning one or both parents of yours was Ugandan, then you can claim citizenship by birth or by descent, and it's $200. So that process, information on that process is available on the website. It's a process which takes about a month. But the thing is, For many people to gather all these documents, over the time they've been in the United States, they've thrown their paperwork away.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
many people that don't know where their original birth certificate is, or they don't know. Once they got this one, they threw the other one away. They don't
Yeah.
have their old passport. They don't. So it will take you a while to collect your paperwork and put it together. And please,
Mhm.
please, please don't call the embassy asking us for a copy of your old passport. That's your document for which you are supposed to be responsible. No, we are not able to help you locate a copy of your old passport. No, we're not. So please don't call us to ask us for
Yes. Yes.
call your mom, your dad if they're not alive, call your cousin, your uncle, call every other family member with whom you can keep documents. But do that. Do your dual citizenship. When you come to renew your passport and you hold a second passport, present your dual citizenship certificate. It is the same thing with the national ID. Only Ugandan citizens are eligible for enrollment of national IDs. Only Ugandan citizens. If you know that you have acquired a second citizenship, please complete your dual citizenship process first and
Yeah.
present your dual citizenship certificate.
I think you're
In both
talking to me
cases,
right now. You're
please.
talking to Brenda Akatama right now because that's what I need to do.
Yes, please work on that. Work on
Yes.
that. The cost was reduced. It used to be $400 for
Oh,
dual
jeez.
citizenship. If you are claiming dual citizenship in your bloodline, it is now $200.
Okay.
And
That's
no, the children that you are born cannot claim dual citizenship. Only adults of 18 years and above can
yes.
claim dual citizenship. So you can't do it for your children yet.
Yes.
Each person must, in their own right, say, I want it, and apply as an individual.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one last one, Brenda.
Yes.
Have people who are second generation, like mommy is here. She's
Mm-hmm.
maybe 70 years old. She's here. She never did her national ID. Now, you, the child, you're here. You want your national ID.
Okay. Yeah.
We need your mommy's details,
Okay.
especially if mommy is not a US citizen yet.
Okay.
When she say a green card holder, we need mommy's details. We need daddy's details. In We've had very touching instances where we've had really elderly people come into the embassy.
Mm-hmm.
And when we ask them, their mom, their dad, their village, because you know the names of the parishes and the villages, the
Yeah.
geographical locations are changing. And when we are reading to them this, they begin to cry because
Yeah.
it touches a certain thing in their spirit, and they're
Yeah.
so happy to be in touch with their roots again.
Yeah.
Once your parent is in, your dual citizenship is more or less guaranteed. So do what you can to ensure that the Bakade also get their paperwork done. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's very helpful. Now, for people who have no parents anymore,
Yes.
like
So
Brenda right now. So
yes.
if what like for my dual citizenship or even my ID,
Yes.
I have a brother who's in Kampala, for
Yes. You
example.
can present your brother as a stand-in, as a next of kin for a parent.
Okay.
Yes. Because really what we are trying to do here is to create a family tree.
Yes.
Because of the circumstances of how you prove Ugandan citizenship. The law of
Yes.
Ugandan citizenship is more or less by blood. It's not like the American one where you are born on American soil, you're an American. In Uganda, that's not how it works. Yes.
That's okay. 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 Now, for example, Margaret, if well, this might be just a personal thing, but who knows? Somebody else
You
there
could be
could.
speaking for 20,000 other
Yes,
people. So go ahead
exactly.
and ask your question.
So if I'm traveling, let's say I travel to Uganda on my American passport, of course,
Yes.
because I won't be able to use my Ugandan passport. But do you think the process could be quicker for me to do it in Uganda? Or would you
Oh, the
suggest?
renewal?
Yeah, the renewal or even the dual citizenship. What do I?
No, because
Hmm.
for each individual,
Yeah.
how long it takes for them to get their paperwork done
Yeah.
varies.
Yes.
But for dual citizenship, it's not the same as getting your passport done. Dual citizenship applications are collected monthly, and
Yes.
the
Okay.
board sits and considers each application in its own merit monthly. So you may um, You may think that you have everything and you've submitted it, and the board does not agree with you.
Right.
And it asks you for more information and more information.
Okay.
So we usually tell people that to wait about a month to get their dual citizenship. But and the thing is, if you do these things now, because people are not rushing for dual citizenship.
Yes, true, yeah.
The other thing is that there are people for whom, say, their current circumstances in the United States will not let them pursue dual citizenship. Maybe they're in the military, maybe there are other government facilities, immigration facilities that the government of Uganda can extend to you because of your historic roots.
Yeah.
You can apply for a resident permit. It's maybe the equivalent of a green card.
Okay.
But you can apply for a resident permit in your American passport as a Ugandan. That can work for you for legal immigration purposes. But when it comes to the things on which your status, your nationality touches, like the ownership of land.
Yeah.
The reason that the government was really pushing as many people to get their national IDs and dual citizenship sorted is not because the government is coming after you. It's because in your family, mommy will die, daddy will die, there'll be land left behind. You'll be the oldest, they'll say Brenda is the heir. Then your siblings who are in Kampala will say, but that one is even an American.
Yes.
When they're saying, let's divide it and you are refusing, they will take you to court and they will win.
They will win. My gosh, yes.
The government won't even have come into it anywhere. It will just be because as siblings you disagreed. It may even be a cousin who challenges ownership. It doesn't have to be a blood sibling. But the idea is, please keep abreast with the way the law changes and how it affects you. But yes, if you're not sure of what facilities are available to you to help you, because we recognize that you have to make these constant trips to Uganda and a visa may not cut it every time.
Yeah.
Try seeking another immigration facility that is a little long lasting.
Yes. That's a jackpot right there. That message was a jackpot for me. So thank you so much, Margaret. And guys, please share this video if you think anybody else out there will benefit from this. And I know so many platforms have seen people asking these questions that Margaret addressed today. So I hope this is very helpful and this clears some of the questions that you've had about the embassy. Also read the good side of things that people have actually got from the embassy. And let's also share those good things. Like Margaret says, you are part of the process. So what role are you playing? Are you playing the role of coming up with a solution or finding the problem, or being part of the problem that the system is having? So we can find where we need to fall here. But Margaret, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And please let me know some months when you get some free time. We could always spare an hour and discuss new things or even any updates. I'll be very glad.
Sure. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much, viewers, for taking time out of your Saturday to be with us. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We're out of here. Bye-bye, Margaret.
Bye-bye.